Yes, fellas, welcome to Bala Sport TV. How you guys doing? Name
Good,
is
brother.
Musa Kosi Solo. Welcome back, brothers.
Here, man.
Yes, sir. What's going
Like,
on,
share, and
gentlemen?
subscribe.
Oh, man, a lot to talk about today, man. We are gonna go deep into this, man. Did the 2026 World Cup change North American soccer forever? And of course, man, we are gonna talk about the breaking news that happened in FIFA. FIFA's $20 billion plan. I'd like to hear some of your takes and explanation on that when we get there.
Yeah.
But right now, though, we are first gonna focus and start with the FIFA impact on North America, and this is gonna be big. There you go, George. George, thank you for joining
George is
right on
here.
time. Right on time.
Mr. George,
He
what's
showed up
going
right
on?
on time, man. I was just about to get this thing started, and just a little pause for a minute, to my boy to get ready. I was just starting to talk about what we're gonna discuss and what we're heading, the impact, how the World Cup impact North America, and then that $20 billion plan. And we're asking whether this 25th World Cup has done that for America, of course, and what you guys think is gonna be on the whole $20 billion plan, and how the host nations, and how, if do you guys agree with the achieve or overachieve. I want to hear you guys take on this because this is gonna be good. And right, so we're talking about the impact of the World Cup itself for North America, but I do got some numbers here. How great this World Cup was and how much people attends. So the total attendance was over 6 million, over 104 matches in 16 host cities, and average capacity is 99.7%. Basically means that that's every single seat will fill in every single game. That's crazy.
That
And
is
the previous,
impressive.
and the previous record was 3 million, over 3 million, which was set in 1994 in the same host
Of
city,
course.
state, of course, United States. And we nearly doubled it this time. And there's Florida numbers that I got here. For some reason, I said, yo, when George sent me this, so I got to get deep into it. And this is some real talk here, bro. Over 7.7 million people, million people attend fan fests across the three host countries. I know I was one of them,
Yeah.
so
Hey, me too.
yeah. So, and the viewership just for the final alone, that's 63 million USA viewers watched the Spain Argentina final across Fox and Telemundo and Peacock. Yes, we're talking about 63 million views, man. This is some type of, man, I can't even compare it to the Super Bowl right now. And Fox tournament average jumped 116% compared to the previous World Cup, which was like 7.4 million per match. So he jumped up for 116%. That's crazy. And the United States group stage game wins at Levi Stadium would draw 24.4 million viewers. That's like Super Bowl numbers right there, bro. So the impact is real when it comes down to the numbers. And there's so much numbers there. And FIFA, of course, projected to bring in 15 billion in revenues in between that since the last World Cup to now, when they know that what states and the countries are going to host it. And that's it. That alone is an impact. And jobs are created. And I know I was listening to Philadelphia news a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I believe, excuse me. They were talking about how local businesses make money and how many jobs are created. And I also heard how Bank of America created over 185,000 jobs. So the impact on the numbers is phenomenal, bro. You can't question it. This is straight up business. And the business plan worked to perfection when it comes to incomes. But we are here for the football side also. But this way, you get a little interesting there. So I can't wait to listen to that. I'll hear you guys take. And we're gonna get straight to it, though. Did the 2026 World Cup actually change North American soccer? And I'm gonna start with you, Solo, because I know you talk about American soccer a lot, but now they're hosted in Canada and Mexico, the North America period, and MLS and all these different major tournaments that happen here, and how we get extended to where we are today to be able to host a World Cup. But did the FIFA World Cup actually change North American soccer forever?
I mean, I wouldn't say change soccer, because remember in 1994, after the first World Cup, that was when MLS was born. And we've seen how much MLS has grown since then. Fast forward to now, 2026. So I think the impact for...
Hold on, George. George, you got to mute one. You hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, down.
Okay.
Go ahead, Solo. My bad.
technical difficulties. Yeah, but so I was saying, so the impact on soccer, so if we talk about North America, right? MLS, I think, so I heard a stat that MLS, and I know sometimes I sound like I'm a MLS president, right? But I don't know if you guys knew that MLS, I think, had the third most players at the World Cup. I mean, it's not even MLS. If you think about it, it's not even top 10 as the best leagues in the world. It's not, right? There's so many good European leagues, but they are, I think, third most. They are actually they are the most players in South and North America leagues at the World Cup. So the impact is already there. And I was watching the commissioner of MLS, and he was talking about the way they feel the impact will be on soccer in America is they're gonna tell the fans, "Did you enjoy the World Cup? Did you enjoy everything that happened in the World Cup?" Guess what? Majority of those players who watch the World Cup, a bunch of them play in the MLS. So if you go to games every weekend, you can watch some of those players. So that's the impact I think for MLS. In terms of fans in America, I think American fans they love anything that's is exciting. Yes, they have the momentum right now. It seems like they all love soccer. After a few months from now, I think the excitement gonna die a little bit. Only the diehards like us will remain. So it's up to the soccer federations and in America and different leagues to really piggyback on this World Cup success story, do a better job marketing MLS. That's the one way they're gonna see a big impact in North America because we already know we got the 4 other major sports. People don't even think about soccer like that. And I was encouraged when I heard the MLS commissioner because actually he was appointed. So he became the commissioner in 1994 after the World Cup. He's retiring this year. Next year he's retiring. So we're gonna have a new commissioner. Hopefully the new commissioner will be a new generation kind of commissioner that will help soccer improve even more in America. But I think MLS is in a very good position and the World Cup could only help.
George, talk to me. The 2026 World Cup impact North American soccer forever.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, brother.
Yeah.
What is Solo talking about?
I was just trying to figure that.
With all the MLS talking,
That's Mr. MLS, man.
you
Go
know,
ahead, man.
he's
Go
the
ahead.
president. What are you even talking about? At this
We're
point,
we're talking about the impact of the World Cup in
I know
America. Okay.
that was the economic impact was there, right? The economic impact of the World Cup, the cities that hosted the World Cup benefited from economically. Both micro and macro, they just the cities benefited a lot from it. But apart from that, can you pinpoint one thing that the World Cup did for U.S. soccer?
It's too early.
It's still too early.
It's too early. The World
Okay,
Cup just ended.
That is the question. The question becomes: look at the different stadium that they played the World Cup games in. Which of them is a soccer stadium?
Again, those are long-term goals you're talking about. We're talking about the immediate impact. Of course, it's NFL
You
stadiums.
have to see the immediate impact before you can look at it and go, there is a future impact here, right? You're playing games at
NFL stadiums.
NFL stadiums.
Okay.
And so does that mean that all the soccer stadiums in America are not up to standard?
No, they're just smaller.
They're just smaller. Why
Yes.
is that?
Because MLS right now can't draw 65,000. Only
So
a couple teams can draw that much
So the
fans.
investment that FIFA made in the World Cup was to benefit the NFL, not soccer.
Not really.
At the end of the day, who is benefiting from the infrastructure development that was done for the World Cup? Is it for soccer or for football? Who is
What?
benefiting from it?
First of all,
Uh-huh.
all these cities that bid to host the World Cup,
Uh-huh.
FIFA made them
Uh-huh.
pay for the upgrades to those stadiums.
That is fine.
FIFA didn't pay for nothing.
That is true.
They told the cities to pay for transportation,
Mhm.
upgrade of stadiums,
Mhm.
and they told them you're going to receive a lot of fans and you're going to make up the money. In most
So-
cases, that wasn't even the case.
That is true. But what I'm saying is that even if the cities made the infrastructure development, who is benefiting from it? Is it going to
What?
benefit soccer in the city or is going to benefit American football in that city?
It's not. I don't know why I keep saying American football.
It is American football.
What's the benefit?
What? Because if there is
What's
if
the
there was
benefit?
infrastructure development,
There's nothing infrastructure. There's nothing they had to do. The only thing they had to do is put grass and they already moved the grass.
did you
NFL
not
teams
see did you not see the NFL players complaining that if they can put grass on the field for soccer, why can't they put grass for NFL?
Okay,
So
why
that
they
is-
why,
Did you not see that?
yeah.
So they know that the benefit of the World Cup, the fact that you can turn the stadium into grass fields, benefit the NFL, not soccer. Which of the soccer teams is going to play at any of the stadiums that was used in the US?
Seattle, Atlanta,
Yeah?
they all play in NFL stadiums.
Yeah?
Lincoln.
When you go to New England,
New England, right?
Is that going to benefit the Patriots or is going to benefit the New England Revolution?
First of all, the New England Revolution, they have a new stadium coming in a couple of years near Boston. They're building a new soccer-specific stadium. And you can say the NFL is benefiting if they're going to keep the grass. None of them kept the grass field. They went back to turf already.
That is the impact. The impact is that it brings the conversation or keeps the conversation going.
No. If you've been watching NFL for a long time, conversation been going on for years and years.
So but it never happened.
Never happened.
You know what?
Now they know it can happen.
No, even after the World Cup, that will never happen because the NFL owners are too powerful and too rich, control everything. That's never happening.
But that was not done by the NFL owners. It was done by the city.
Done what? What do you mean?
I mean the infrastructure, the things that they did to the stadium to bring it to the soccer level was done by the city. The city had to make the investment. So the NFL owners didn't have to make those changes to the field.
It's basically FIFA came in and...
Yes. So what I'm saying is that if you are looking at it from the standpoint of the economic benefit, there is the long-term benefit for that. That is going to be something that every city that hosted the World Cup is going to benefit from. But if you look at it from the standpoint of soccer, can you pinpoint one thing that the World Cup did for soccer in the USA? And don't go long-term. We want a short-term. What is the short-term impact on soccer in the USA?
But big business is a long-term business. You don't look at short-term, that's it. Of course, so MLS came back, right? Couple weeks after the World Cup. Do you watch MLS? Do you watch any MLS games or not?
I did watch a couple games over the weekend.
Okay, so would you agree that some of this, I mean, and they came back on the middle of the week. So it wasn't even on the weekend. So of course, attendance, you can really see that the World Cup made an impact right away because, you see, Wednesday night games, so not all the stadiums were full. Some were full, but most of them were not full. So I think the biggest impact when we talk about the World Cup towards MLS, I think, like soccer in general, I think it created a couple more fans that would be interested in watching an MLS game. Before the World Cup, they probably never thought of watching an MLS game.
So the only reason why they are watching MLS game is they don't have football going on. They don't have basketball going on. So I ask you today, I know you are a Bills fan. So if the Bills are playing today, and New England Revolution is playing Columbus Crew at the same time, and so you have 2 tickets, you can go to the Bills game or go to the MLS game. Which game are you going to?
First of all, New England is not my team.
I am saying it's soccer.
If you say MLS, if you say New York City FC, I'm going to watch New York City FC.
I know you are lying. I know you are lying.
No, that's the most.
Yeah.
Solo. I would say disagree that you will not go watch the soccer, but you're a Bill fan that go to Bills game, middle of a winter when it's
They
20
never happen at the same time though.
But what I'm saying, Solo, is that mostly when there's a World Cup hosted in a country, the impact usually is the grassroots, right? The people that don't have the access to or the infrastructure to gain from playing that game, those are the people that benefit from it. For instance, if you go to Canada after the World Cup made a massive investment into grassroots soccer, pretty much developing infrastructure and other things.
America did too.
When did America do that?
So the past couple years leading up to the World Cup, MLS, I was just watching this yesterday. They have created mini soccer pitches all over the country. Specifically, like yesterday, I was one in New Jersey. Now there's soccer pitches everywhere, mini ones, not the full blown, because a lot of these cities they don't have space for a big soccer field. But they have made an investment and they've been building these things all around the country, man. You just gotta look in the right places. I know you want the impact right away. You want to have MLS playing in 80,000 capacity stadiums right now. It won't happen overnight, man. It takes some time.
That is people. The World Cup just ended like 2 weeks ago. So if people cannot fill the 80,000 stadium,
it's not happening right now.
How are you going to fill it when there is a football going on?
Let me get Kosi in here quick, right? So you heard what they're talking about. So what is your take on that? The question really did, the 2026 World Cup, impact North American soccer forever? And then what do you think about what Georgia and Solo is saying?
Well, I hear what they're both saying, but firstly, on the impact of the sport, what I've been observing the most is that I think in the United States, they're actually realizing the gap that is there when it comes to European, South American football, worldly football compared to football in America, where it's secondhand to the sports that are here already. Because I'm hearing and seeing a lot of titles and a lot of people saying, "Well, if soccer was our first sport above
sport, yeah.
above basketball and above football, look at we could have 6'9" guys playing. If that was their first sport, they would be dominant in the sport." But
Yeah, I
the
don't buy that.
yeah, exactly. But that's something different now, because you're talking about if they're 6'9", they have to have some sort. Look at Peter Crouch he's a rarity. The tall guys that they're so tall in the sport is a kind of a rarity. So, but they're thinking now that they have some of the best athletes in America, but we don't put soccer as our first sport, so that's why we're not as good. Which I really don't think that is true. I think that the true gap is in the grassroots programs and the real teachers of the sport within every city and state per capita. Are the youth really getting true teachers of the game? Are they really getting all of the talent from these inner cities that need to be exposed? Are they really investing into programs that can develop the sport? And I think what I've seen the most is that the US really notices the gap that is there between them and the world, and it's still going to take some time. I mean, Pulisic, that's our number 10 Captain America, and he didn't even really play here in America. Right now they're trying to get players that are playing in America because if you look at our national team, it's mixed up, but most of the players have come from out of Germany, and these places. Weston McKennie's been playing in Italy, but when you look at the sport in America, it's still secondhand. So the most thing I'm seeing is just that there's such a gap still that somehow it needs to be, I think, more. You have to give some of the professional teams, when it comes to football in America, they need something to lose. They don't lose. When they lose, they just come back the next year. As in, there's not really tradition. They're missing the tradition also. That's what I've been noticing. That's the gap between America and the US. There's no tradition. There's no relegation. So there's always going to be a talent gap. There's no
Right.
eagerness,
I totally agree with you with the gap. And now that you say that, for me, because of the gap different between the sport itself and the rest of the world, so the culture of the World Cup has arrived in America. And what's the most impact thing is that we know the best place to host this World Cup, it is in America, based on cultural differences, cultural phenomena, if you want to call it. But the gap is there because the United States men's soccer team got knocked out again in round of 16. You can't say they had the toughest path. You can't say that they were lack of experience, because they even had an international coach that's been around. But that gap difference,
It's just
for
the
me,
gap.
that's what I say that no, that has not impacted them in football wise, but economy wise, like George was saying, who did it benefit? And Solo was talking about the MLS part of it.
Yeah.
That's why the next question really matters. Like, what does this mean for the MLS? Solo said a lot of the things, but George has said something that actually is very interesting. Like, who did it really benefit economy wise? What is the soccer part, or how can our NFL use this to improve their players' injuries? But a lot of things are gonna happen in this World Cup when it happened, because and the thing that also kept me is when George said is they didn't play in a soccer stadium. So now what? What type of space do we have in New York City or New Jersey at this point to build a youth soccer stadium that's capable of hosting another World Cup if it's not an NFL stadium? So the sport could never really be as number one in America, period. Because even now, so we see one of the greatest World Cup ever has been hosted in a stadium where it's not even a soccer stadium, like compared around the world.
Yes.
So, George,
Right.
go ahead.
Hey, that's what I was saying. It's going to take some time. MLS is like 30 years old. These other European leagues, they're like hundreds of years old.
Hundreds of years old. Yeah.
So first of all, you got to understand that MLS just started. Soccer in America just started.
Yes.
And the improvement they've made since 1994 to now is excellent. And I'm not saying they have arrived yet. It's going to take more time for them to even reach the levels of European teams. It's not happening right now. Just hosting a couple World Cups won't overnight change everything. It's something that have to build towards throughout the years.
I believe.
And one thing, America is so much unlike any other country on the planet. America is so different. Whatever works in Germany and England would never work in America. What they have to do is find a different model that they can develop that would work and improve soccer in America. Trying to follow the Italian way or the French way, it won't happen. First of all, America is too big, it's too powerful, it's too rich. Money runs everything in America. In other countries, sometimes they don't care about money as much. In America, you got to remember, everything is a business. MLS owners are billionaires that are in the business to make money, not improve soccer, which is sad. They're there to make money. That's why MLS will never have Division 1, Division 2. That will never happen because MLS owners will never go for that. So in America, they have to develop their own model of developing soccer in America. They can't follow any other country because America is so different from any other country.
George?
I mean, I have to agree with what he's saying, but I think if we are focusing on the impact of the World Cup on soccer as a whole, then you have to look at it from the top down, right? As Solo said, if the owners doesn't want to change, then what are they going to accept about anything soccer in relation to how it's going to grow the game? Right? And I was having a conversation with somebody and they were talking about soccer in America being paid to play. And I'm like, this is not going to change anytime soon. It doesn't matter whether there's a World Cup or not. It's soccer in America is going to be paid to play and it's come to stay. There is nothing that you can do about it because everything when it comes to ownership of sports in America is monopolized one way or the other, right? Look at the MLS. Who is the major sponsor for MLS? Adidas. So every single team has to do what?
Wear Adidas.
Use Adidas product. Does that mean that Nike, Puma, or all the other competitors cannot come in? So if you have monopolized everything, how do you make any changes?
Yeah.
And that is the major problem, is that every major sport in America, one way or the other, is being monopolized by one organization or one company. And there is not a lot of room for competitors to come in, right? So as Solo said, the owners of the game are billionaires. So what are you going to tell them to change their mind?
So the only thing you can tell them, if you can convince them that you're gonna triple your billions, they will listen to you.
That is what FIFA is trying to do.
That's the next. That's gonna be the next segment we're gonna talk about.
This is the thing,
right?
I was just gonna say, FIFA is trying to sway them now. Just because you just made a good point. One thing or one brand is in charge of all of the teams, and look who has the biggest deal now, and look who's playing in the league that has a big stake in the league, and he's sponsored by Adidas, and the world FIFA and Adidas are one. So it's like they're making it so obvious of how they're monopolizing this thing where it needs to be more of an open thing where Nike can come in, Puma can come in, and then it can expand going forward.
You go in and out.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just want to make sure that your mic is.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that they just need to look at going forward how they can open it up to more players to come in for the MLS. You understand? They're still so confined in terms of how things go in the MLS. And also, another thing is, you see how football is big in Europe because they created such a there's long-standing trophies that they play for. The Champions League trophy dates way back, and that's a big trophy. That's what basically football surrounds itself around. If you're not in your league, you're playing in Europe. It's UEFA Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, and that's where you're seeing all of the talent go on display. So I think the MLS needs to create something also that opens it up to playing for something of significance like that.
Right. So the MLS is MLS.
So the question becomes, is it more of a talent issue when it comes to the growth in terms of MLS, or is it the fact that the whole league is being monopolized by an industry or a company?
It's a combination. It's a combination of things, but the monopolization is really crazy.
And another thing too with the MLS, like now that we're talking about the MLS, what it is, actually benefit from did MLS actually benefit from the World Cup? Solo's mentioned a lot of things, and you guys will say some more things. For me, I would say no because of I don't want to pay for no goddamn Apple TV to watch a goddamn MLS game.
Yeah, man.
You know
That's
what I'm
why.
saying? Like, how do we get there?
I pay.
You
I
know,
pay
you see
for it.
what I
I've
mean?
been paying for it since the
Right,
beginning.
that's what I'm saying. But as you, like, we all soccer lovers, but I'm not gonna get out of my way. Even Americans that leave here, you know, the work that football. This is a country that soccer is not the most popular sport. We know it's the number one sport in the world, but we in the country and you still went down. They want us to subscribe to Apple TV, where we gotta pay extra other money. When most of the game that everybody fell in love with, the most popular sports in America, excuse me, are playing it in a TV where people actually watch it for free at times, or
This
even
is
they go watch it to YouTube TV that everybody
That's not
has.
free anymore.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
I'm
this
just
is
saying.
this,
No,
this
you're
is
just
the
saying
thing,
like
Musa. This is the thing, though. I watch. I used to like 2013, 2014, 2015. I'm watching every league. I used to watch every league, every player, to watch the talent across the board. When MLS was on TV, I'm gonna watch the Premier League and everything in the morning, watch other sports, and then watch MLS in the night because it's on TV. You can actually
TV that you could actually
flick
watch.
to it and click to it. Now you have to go and pay and search and go on. Like, what is that? Because they're monopolizing the damn thing, bro, and that's not good for.
That's not only soccer. That's everything in America.
I know
Right.
now, but
But what I'm trying to
if
say
it's
is that
NBA, you know,
right.
the
So
the
like
games
most of
this
all these
day you can
major
watch on local
networks that
TV.
people watch basketball or football, they're already paying for that. So now you want them to come out of their pocket and go pay for something else extra when they're not even into that sport, and that sport that's not being delivered in this country like the way the other sports are. For me, that's when they really got to knock. But because of the name of Messi coming here and the thing that they could be able to get away with that. So like I tell you this, I think there'll be more people going live to watch a live game than to watch it at home because of some of these reasons. Because going out to a game, you know this, man, you got a lot of football games solo. You know that most people down at the football game that's really not a huge football fan. They're there for the event.
The event.
But
Yeah,
the
so-
truth is, Musa, that the game itself is not global when it comes to MLS. MLS game is not global. There is nobody that is living outside the US that is going to tune in and say, I'm going to watch New England Revolution against New York City FC.
Actually, there is. It's not a lot, but there is.
There is not a lot of people that are going to demand that game, right? So I think one way that they can, that's the reason why I asked the question, is it about talent or not? So if you are bringing in global talent, that is why we had, I think a couple of episodes ago, I was saying that if you look at the U.S. men national team, who in the team played for in MLS, that you are going to say, because of his performance at the World Cup, I am going to go to the stadium to watch him, right? There is something that is called the viewership attraction. Is if I want to watch a game, if I am not in love with the team, I am watching for individual players. So if there's an MLS game and let's say I go home, I go back to Ghana and I want to watch a game on TV, in MLS do I want to watch? If it's not like watching Inter Miami to see Messi and see the big name players, who am I going to watch?
Batu retired and they got
That
hit
is the
from
problem. Is they haven't got to the point where the MLS is globalized enough such that the demand from outside the US or the demand from outside North America is up there to get people to talk about it. Because now the reason why Apple TV can monopolize it is that I don't really, if I'm not in the US, do I really care about that? Probably not. But if I am here and I want to watch EPL, I want to get it, right? I have all the networks that shows EPL. I also pay extra to get Peacock so I can watch the other games. But
it's not even like they put MLS on that app.
Yes.
They put it on something else, you know.
But
Something
if
totally
you are
different.
not in the USA or North America, would you pay anything extra to get Apple TV just to watch MLS?
All right, can I respond? So there's a few changes MLS they have decided to do. First of all, they are getting rid of kind of like a salary cap.
Okay.
So now MLS teams are able to sign any player. That's the proposal.
Okay.
Any player for whatever amount.
Okay.
Just like in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
right? So they're hoping that would help. When it comes to Apple TV, so when they first signed the contract, there was an MLS part in Apple TV. You pay for MLS, and you only watch MLS. Now, beginning this year, they have changed it. You don't need to pay for MLS in particular. You just pay for Apple TV. So now MLS is available on just Apple TV in general.
In general, okay.
So now Apple TV. So now think about it. MLS, for the most part, they're not competing against other soccer leagues in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They're competing against American leagues, other sports. That's what they're competing with.
But that's the problem, though. You don't see why that's a problem?
Right. Now, you can argue whether it's right or wrong. So among the major sports in America, they're the only league that people anywhere around the world can go on Apple and watch MLS game. People around the world, they can watch basketball or baseball or NFL like that. Now, like you say, need big names in MLS to attract those fans in other countries to, you know what, they're already paying for Apple to watch movies, whatever they're watching on Apple. That's why I think that was a brilliant move to put MLS just on Apple in general. Because we know people are paying for other shows on Apple. So if there's an MLS game, there's a good chance that they might click on it and watch and be interested in it. Those are some of the changes they are making this year. So they've been working hard to make changes. And now you mentioned that there's no American player who play the World Cup who could say, oh, I want to go watch MLS. So those are two different arguments. We're arguing about the development of soccer in America and the MLS business. The MLS business, they don't care who's playing in MLS. Is American or it's Argentinian, right? Top players in the world are not Americans. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
So if they can get those players in MLS, it is to bring eyeballs to the MLS. They don't care whether it's Christian Pulisic or not. So if there's Messi or all this, I hear Mo Salah has been connected here. I don't know if he's coming. So they don't care what country they're coming from. As long as they play in MLS,
really,
it's good for them.
You think
I'm talking about MLS as a business, not American
you think if Pulisic come back to play in the MLS, he wouldn't drive the viewership up?
He would because he's American.
Yeah. That is the point. That is what I'm trying to say.
But what I'm telling you, America doesn't have that much quality of players like that. That can.
Why not? What is preventing them from like the best players in America? Why can't they stay in the MLS? Why not? Because
for so long, like you guys make fun of MLS, that is a retirement league. Imagine if your best player is playing MLS only. Well, like we've discussed, the coaching, the whole system of MLS is getting better, but for the most part, it has been really low. You know what I mean? So if you want your players to compete at the highest level, they have to be in an environment where they have the best coaches, best everything to develop. That's why all players go to Europe. Why do players go to Europe?
All right, so this leads to my next question, right? Because I'm gonna skip this leads me to my next question. If you could change one thing about how North American soccer development from here, what would it be? Because it seems like
on TV.
No, just the soccer in general. Forget just about how did it go about just improving the soccer in general? How did development young talents and from the youth and so on? Because I know George is saying like majority, if you watching the MLS, the superstars of born America itself don't play here. They don't represent the MLS like they, when we see in the World Cup when the United States got knocked out and we seen it, they said that the percentages of viewership is gonna drop because of the United States is not in it. Of course, a lot of USA fans, thank God for the culture that's already here, or the folks that come in that brought their own culture, but the viewership had dropped because a lot of Americans are saying we're not in it. What's the point of watching it? So how do we develop this young talent to be able to be the superstars? Because I'm not saying Messi, but any superstar, great superstars. George,
I think for most part it's about, as I said earlier, it's about getting the household names in the MLS, like the local. I'll use this words local champions. It goes a long way to attract viewership to the game, right? And for instance, if you are looking at the U.S. national team, for instance, if they had their top 5 players playing in the MLS, or even if they had 3 players that had a good World Cup playing in the MLS, don't you think they will drive the marketing, they will drive the viewership to the next level? Because given what the World Cup did in terms of viewership and in terms of the buzz that people had for soccer now you are looking at kids that didn't even watch soccer now talking about it. So imagine if we had a Pulisic in the MLS. Now, after the World Cup, I am going, what team does this guy play? Now I get to watch him, right? And that would drive the viewership up in the MLS. But none of the top players that played in the US national team, none of the household names play in the MLS. So how do I get to watch a Pulisic after the World Cup? How do I get to watch McKennie after the World Cup? How do I get to watch, what is the name of the guy that scored a wonderful free kick? Tillman after the World Cup.
Tillman.
Right? I have to go and watch it on Peacock or Paramount Plus to see them playing outside the US. So now, after the World Cup, what attracts me to go watch the MLS if there is none of these players playing in the MLS?
Because there's other 50 players from other countries that are playing the MLS still.
I am not interested in you.
I get that, right? So you're still talking about the impact of or how MLS could be impacted by this, but the World Cup, okay.
Yes.
But, and I get what you're saying. Like when you look at a women's soccer, you know what women's soccer in America development and the do is a beautiful. You will know how beautiful they play until when you actually watching them or refereeing them.
Yes.
Like, I was there live refereeing them. I'm like, yo, it's totally different than when you ref the boys soccer. So because why? The Humby Wombugs in the world. There's a little girl in Rochester, New York. Oh my gosh, she's from Rochester. I get to watch her. Yeah, back in the days. I get exactly what you're saying. And that's what's separating from the major league in America and to the men's league, like you mentioned. But Solo, like the question really is that if you have to change one thing, you know, like we could talk about the play to pay model or the youth's not been development much. I know we mentioned this a couple of times how you gotta voluntary dads because they don't want to pay for trips or something like that. They become a head coach. And now one more kind of guy who never watched soccer day in his life, who was a football or basketball. Now your daughter start playing soccer because then you become a coach. How can that person end up helping this kid develop the skills and talents enough to be able to see worldwide? Except if you don't have to go out in the outside the United States like Pulisic did. He was a Chelsea academy. He was all over this other place. They don't have that type of structure in America as a head coaches. Or even some of the referees really, they just read a rule book. Like they don't have the feeling for the game, like the way that other people does. So what do you think, Sol?
That's gonna take a whole lot. Because the culture in America is not there yet. That's what all these leagues are working towards, is getting that culture. It doesn't exist yet. In other countries, soccer is the only thing they do. It's religion and soccer, nothing else. In America, that's not the case. Soccer in America, they have to fight different battles. They have to fight against other leagues in America, and then they have to, at the same time, compare themselves with international leagues. It's going to take a long time for soccer in America to reach the same level as European teams, for example, or South American teams. It's like I said, America is a different country compared to any other country. There's no one formula that will work in America. There's a reason why America is the richest country on the planet. Everything in America runs around money. And where there's money, you can never change people's minds. Some things are set the way they are. They will never change because somebody has to make money somewhere. Soccer will always be for rich kids in America. We never be for the poor kids. In other countries, poor kids play soccer. In America, that's not the case.
So you're saying that like that should be that's something that needs to be changed because we focus on what you think need to be changed.
That needs to be changed, but I know it's not changing because of the country we live in. This is not Chile. This is not England. This is not South America. Things are run so differently. So if inner city kids can play soccer, that will help. Right now, you don't see inner city kids playing soccer. You know what they do? Picking up basketball, playing football. They're not exposed to soccer. If they get exposure to soccer, that will help a little bit. Now, the kids, they think playing soccer is gay. People play soccer, oh, that's gay. You know what I mean? So it's going to take so many different steps to help soccer in America really become what really we need to be. It's not one thing. It's going to be multiple things. It's changing the culture. It's changing the mindset of people. And stop saying if our top athletes playing soccer, we'll be world champions. That's not the case.
No.
That's not working.
Yeah.
So there's so many. There's no one step they have to take. You're gonna have multiple stages to take to improve soccer.
All right, Corey's go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I believe in order for it to get more respect in America, so that it could spark a kid's mind. Made me try this. You should bring some athletes that are the top athletes in other sports, not just for the World Cup, bring them across the board into the MLS when there's certain games, and like for Chad Ochocinco for example, this
He
guy
loves
is
soccer.
this guy is actually playing in some of the 7v7 tournaments. He loves the sport. He's showing the sport, and I think, not saying you have to be like him, I'm saying the people that have interest in the sport, they need to showcase it more on the level of MLS or something
Exactly.
to bring the attention over there now to where they say, oh, that's LeBron, or that's somebody at a LAFC LA Galaxy game.
And that goes back to what
you know?
George was saying. Let's say if there was a MLS player that actually played in the United States of America League.
Yes.
The young kid that was watching the politics or the world of Tillemans in the World Cup stage and knowing that they get to able to watch this man again in the country after making the beautiful free kick. But the country where soccer has not been developed. Okay, they're trying to catch up. We got a long way to go. But don't you think that would have make a difference?
You
For
think
sure.
about it, Kosi, Solo. How did you get to fall in love with soccer when you were young?
It's the only thing that we knew was soccer. We didn't know anything else.
No, you had a player that got your
yeah.
attention when you were young.
Yeah.
There was one player somewhere that got your attention, and you wanted. You see how when back home you have a jersey and we use chalk to write the back of the jersey or charcoal to write the name of the player at our back. There was always that one player that attracted you to the game. But right now, when you look at the MLS and you are asking a young kid that has watched the World Cup, and you are saying, okay, that young kid was supporting the US, right? The US team. So after watching the World Cup and after everything that has gone on, probably the kid picked up a single player that they liked in the tournament.
Okay.
From the US team. Now, if that kid wants to get the jersey of that player, what club is he or she going to get?
Inter Miami.
Inter Miami. They are going to get Pulisic, AC Milan. They're going to get Leverkusen. They're going to get Juventus, right? And that has always been my argument, is that the US need to find a way to build a solid team based on the players that play in the MLS. They have to find a way. It's not going to be done tomorrow.
Can
I respond in a couple seconds, just a couple sentences? That will never happen until MLS as a league improves, because you can't expect your top players to play in the MLS and thinking to do well the World Cup. It's not possible. This is not the English Premier League or the German League where you can say every single player on the national team plays in the local league. MLS is not that level yet.
They did it in the Gold Cup.
Huh?
They won the Gold Cup with MLS players.
Come on, man. Really, Gold Cup and the World Cup?
Yeah,
let
the fans out there drop their thoughts about what do you think about this conversation, really. I mean, what's the broken pieces about the United States? I mean, please let us know. But this is last question about that, right? Do you think, George, if the recruitment system, because a lot of people think that people in America here don't play soccer, or we grow up we are foreigners coming to America, but we're in America now. Let's say if the recruitment system doesn't look at the area code, they actually go to the inner city, don't you think they would have fight the like of you, George, Kosi, me, or anybody else who's coming up? Don't you think that should be one of the biggest changes that should happen in American recruitment system when it comes to youth soccer?
No, that cannot happen, right? I think people make the argument if our top athletes are playing soccer, then we will be number one country when it comes to soccer. That is probably I don't know whether that is the right way.
No, I'm talking about like the people that actually play soccer in the inner city, right? That come here as a foreigners, right? You know, like when you look at foreign countries, man, they don't care where you're from. You could be sleeping under the bridge. When you're talented, you're talented. They don't care about all of that.
They have the infrastructure for it. We don't, right?
Right.
Even so when you look at it from the Rochester standpoint, right? Just take Rochester, for instance. Do you know how many times teams practice? The actual team that are paying to play, how many times they practice in the winter?
Exactly.
Do you know how much you have to pay to even have a recreational soccer inside, right? So the infrastructure is not there. That is one. And two, the appetite to play is not there. It gets to a point when you look all over the world, right? They play soccer throughout the year. But America it's not possible to do that. So I cannot be
because of what?
Player. Because of one, I'll put it the weather doesn't favor a lot of people. Two,
look at the Scandinavian countries. They produce the best.
That's the
they
point.
got terrible weather.
That's the point I'm building now. One, the appetite to play is not there because if I have a team, let's say I am managing a team of kids, before we can get a session in during the winter season, we have to pay somebody about $1,200 or $1,500 to even play for 1 hour a week, right? So if you are practicing 1 hour every week, are you going to be at the same level as a kid that is practicing 2 hours every day for a week? So there is always the skill level, the skill difference that is happening in America. Based on if you go to the inner city, who is teaching the kids in the inner city how to play?
Baseball coach.
And basketball coaches.
That was my point I was trying to make. Like, don't you think that's what need to be changed for them to actually get something going? Because I believe that I honestly believe that there's a foreigners that come to this country that become American citizens that are great soccer players but never had the opportunity to be recruited to be seen by some of these big D1 colleges or not.
That's a great point. Actually, America should be the best soccer nation in the country, in the world.
Because of all these foreigners. That's
all these foreigners that come here. But here's the problem, like you said, they're not coming to the inner city to recruit players because there's no system set up to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in America, every sport has a kind of like a minor league system they follow, right? It's high school, college, hit the pro. Same thing is soccer, MLS. So it's either high school, college, and then hit the pro. But in other countries, you have the system set up like from the lowest level to the highest level with qualified coaches coaching kids from the beginning to the end. Like Musa just said, in America, they just ask the bus driver, you want to coach soccer? Yeah. They give them the book of the rule book, but they're not invested in the sport. They're not really invested in the sport and they don't know what they're doing. And people like you, George, and Musa that understand the soccer are not available to do those jobs.
Yeah. All right, man.
You guys are not available to do all those jobs. And if you are, it's only a few of you. It's not enough of you.
Right. Let me sneak this question in there quick, man. And before we move on, did the host countries achieve or overachieve? But each country, did the United States overachieve or underachieve? I mean, give me a quick answer, George.
I think they all got what they were supposed to get to. I don't think they overachieved. They underachieved. It just like
I agree.
The people had a lot of expectations for them that were not supposed to be there in the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. So that I didn't have.
Man, come on now? You guys tell me that Canada did not overachieve winning man, they won the first knockout stage World Cup game against South Africa.
What?
That was a great game. They did overachieve.
Who did they play?
They play against South Africa, man. They won at least one game.
But you know what? It's not about who they play. Let's look at the history of the World Cup. Other than countries we know don't play soccer, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, these countries. We don't expect them to get out of the knockout stage. But any other country before that hosted the World Cup, at least they get out of the group stage. That's the minimum if you're the host. You got to get out of the group stage.
Yeah, you think if Canada was in the Group F, the Ghana group, would you think they would have gone out of the group stage?
It's not it's like saying that if Argentina did not play, Algeria did not play that, did not play that, did not play that. No, but give them, I think Canada overachieved.
You see, they overachieved?
They overachieved by winning the first ever knockout game in the World Cup. So you got to get a little credit for that. I give them at least a little bit something.
Look how easy the group stage was.
Yeah, you can say the same thing about United States. United States got better players.
And that's too. I think they all did what they had to do.
But the thing about at least Canada did something that they haven't done yet.
Because they've been bad for so long.
My point exactly. So give them a credit. They overachieved.
It's expected of them because they had the likes of Alphonso Davies and these caliber players.
Alphonso Davies, come on, man. Alphonso Davies was sitting the best the whole tournament.
I'm not saying that's the team, but I'm saying they have the best talent they've ever had. So some people
fellas, though, man, on some real talk, though, man, I don't mean to cut you, but maybe like let's get down to reality here. The real impact for me, like personally, is not the $15 billion that FIFA is gonna collect. You know, it's not about the viewership. It's not amount of hotel revenues. It's not a job that's just been created by sponsors or sponsorship or whatnot. That's all that is nice and all that we are adults, we know finance. But the real impact is the 10-year-old kid, man, that's watching Spain lift the World Cup. As you mentioned, George, earlier, what player did you see that make you want to play this game, that make you want to write his name on the back of a shirt that you got on, and that say that, damn, I could do this one day? that could be the real impact of a kid that just see what is Jonathan Davis from Canada scoring 5 goals. Who knows Canadian could score that much goal in the World Cup, but they end up happening. Or a kid that could just sit there watching Kylian Mbappe that never seen him play in Real Madrid or PSG or whatnot, because leaving the United States of America be like, yo, look at this guy. I want to be like this guy someday, because this is how I fell in love with the game. Watching a guy, hearing his name on radio, and just going in to be like, dang, I want to play this game. For me, that's one of the best reasons why, and to see Mexico was able to draw over 200,000 people in the stadium
Yes.
to
Yes.
go ahead and go
Yes.
this crazy about it, man.
Yes.
Just everything else, man. The impact of the game in North America did happen in so many different aspects of it. But, of course, we focus on the United States because everything else that we know, but it's great impact. Any last thought or any last word from you guys about the impact of North American soccer forever?
I think for me, I think my disappointment in it was that a lot of the major cities didn't bid to host the World Cup, right? So we didn't get to see a World Cup in places like Chicago, where there is a lot of inner city case issues over there. And I think for me, one of the things I always say that some of us, soccer got us out of a lot of trouble growing up. So I think a kid probably would have been saved by soccer in Chicago if they hosted it. But the disappointment in it is that everything in soccer right now
It was
has
a corruption
turned
of FIFA.
into money. And that is that robs some of the kids or some of the disadvantaged kids the opportunity to enjoy it. But at the end of the day, this is a game that brings about unity. This is a game that brings people together. This is a game that brings different culture, diversity. It just a game that unites people. So that is my takeaway from the World Cup is that it was able to fulfill some of the things that this game brings to people in terms of joy, in terms of unity. But you cannot also overlook the fact that the game now is all about money, and the people that it's not going to go away anytime soon. If you are poor, you probably need to find another sport to play. But it is what it is. There's nothing that we can do. We have to find a way to still keep our kids from playing, playing the game, so that they will. Because soccer is not just about going pro. I know what soccer has done for me outside that, and saving me from a lot of troubles that I could have got myself into, and sports in general. So to me, every kid in America, I wish every kid had that opportunity to at least play a single sport. Because I know what sports did for me growing up and the trouble that it got me out of.
Old fat. Coty?
True.
Yeah, I believe just to reflect on what George says, it just needs to be, get more into these inner cities where we know the talent is. It needs to be showcased. There needs to be, I was thinking here, as we were talking earlier about, there needs to be actual soccer sanctuaries where the soccer is, the talent is, but there's no development. Wherever the spaces that the development needs to go, that people know that there's talent, or we know this kid over here, he's very good. They need to pump all of what that needs to be into these spaces. Chicago's the cities where there's a whole bunch of immigrant kids playing. When we were coming up, Mount Hope, there's a whole bunch of kids over there playing, and the talent's over there.
I remember that.
We need that. When you see that now, they need to be showcased and say, well, these kids, they need to be sent here, here, and here, and they need to be, it happens to one player, but it never happens to the talent pool that's there. Versus in Europe, when they see that, they're taking them to a whole different level, because they know when they see talent, that's currency to them. That's what needs to happen in America. Whereas it could be a hit or a miss. If this kid's go to this college, then he goes there, and then after certain years, you don't hear about him again. But he has the talent. Why is he not playing on a certain level? There needs to be more creation in the sport, where it creates more of a public eye. You can see the sport as more on a public eye on many different levels. When you go to Brazil, you're seeing futsal on TV. You're seeing the top league. You're seeing it at many different levels, but there's stars at all these levels. It doesn't matter if they're playing in the biggest league or not. So, that's what needs to be assessed in America.
Right.
Solo?
Soccer sanctuaries, man.
What's your final thoughts on the impact of North America?
Well, so I'm going to respond to just a couple of things that like you just mentioned. One thing that we always fail to mention or remember is that when it comes to soccer in America or the soccer federation, it's so different from other countries. In other countries, when the country say when they bid to host the World Cup, guess who's doing that? The government. Every FL federation around the world is connected to their government. In America, everything is independent.
Mm-hmm.
There's no government that sponsors the national team. Everything is private. It's independent.
Yep.
Every city is independent. Saudi Arabia building stadiums left and right. The government is doing it. So everything is under one big umbrella. In America, every city is its own country. So like George said, he was disappointed not to see Chicago. Guess what? If I went to Chicago and tell them, you can host a World Cup if you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Chicago said, no, we're not going to spend money on transportation. We're not going to do upgrade to Soldier Field so you can make money. No, thank you. If it was in Saudi Arabia, the government would just do it.
Yeah.
That's the major difference.
Yeah.
That's why it's always so hard to compare America to any other country. There's years when other countries, when they bid for the Olympics, it's the country bidding for the Olympics, not a city. In America, it's the particular city. Got to do everything by themselves. So it's same thing when it comes to development of soccer. There's no one big umbrella that's in charge of everything. And now there are advantages, disadvantages to that, right? If you have a big one umbrella controlling everything, you are able to set up different things. That would be the standard for the whole country. In America, that doesn't exist. So the impact of the FIFA World Cup in America, I don't think it's something we're gonna see like immediately. We might see it in the future. And we see 10 years from now, we see new great soccer players, and when you hear the stories like fall in love after the 2026 World Cup, I think that's when we're gonna see the real impact. We're not gonna see anything right now.
I agree, because the seed was planted in 1994, and
Right.
the future United States coaches right now probably was sitting there watching that tournament as a kid, saying that
Exactly.
I want to be a coach. I was inspired by this. I was inspired by how the tournament went. And MLS got to extend from 20 teams in 2016 to 30 teams today, where we got Messi joining Inter Miami. And so the World Cup 2026 didn't just transfer American soccer at the end. It's not just transferred overnight at the end. But what it did was plant the seed the same way that 1994 did. And I don't know about you guys, man. I like Marcus Ariza once says, the fruit of life is good character and the action for common good. The fruit of the World Cup won't be just visible. Like Solo saying the whole time, it's not going to happen overnight. But in long term, I think we probably might see it. Hopefully we see it in our lifetime. Maybe one of our kids. Yeah. Let's have our fingers
I have one
crossed.
thing to say also. Yan Diamande from Ivory Coast. 2023, he was playing in the UPSL in America.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now he's about to signed for Real Madrid on how much per million, multi-million, one of the biggest contracts ever. So this is the thing. Again, the talent in the inner city and the immigrant children and the child of immigrants, it is here and then it's gone.
All right.
Because they failed to invest in it and then it's gone. And now look, that's just an example, you know?
That's definitely a good one, man. So let's move on to FIFA $20 billion power move. This is funny. FIFA proposed $20 billion commercial plan in its future of football. Or is this just a power grab that could reshape the entire sport? So my question to you guys, gentlemen, I have few. No, I'm not rushing. We don't got much time, but is $20 billion FIFA business plan good for football? George, talk to me. Or you want me to ask you all the questions at once?
Yeah, let's go with all the questions at once.
All right. So is $20 billion FIFA business good for the football? Could this hurt the leagues like the Premier League and the Champion Leagues and, of course, MLS that we're trying to talk about and all the leagues around the world? And is FIFA trying to compete with them?
That's it.
Or maybe they're trying to compete with leagues like the NBA or NFL.
Yeah, let's look at it from the top, right? What does it mean if somebody has a stake in an organization?
I mean, what it means is they're expecting something in return.
That is the point. So if I want to give you my 20 billion, am I giving you my 20 billion and not make something out of my 20 billion? So that means that you have to do what I ask you to do or what I want you to do so I can make my money back. My 20 billion is not a gift. It's not for free. So now the question becomes, we have one of the things that makes the World Cup a great tournament, and I call it a festival, is that it happens every 4 years. So people have to hunger for it. After it's gone, oh, I'm looking forward to the next one, right? So now you are telling me you are selling stake of the World Cup to people, to private equity, to private people. I want to get my money back. So do I want to wait 4 years, or I'm pulling it back and saying that needs to be every year?
Like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, every year. So now what does that do to the other continental tournaments? You have the UEFA, you have the CONCACAF, you have the AFCON, you have the Asian League, Asian tournament. What does that do to them? So that is the main problem, is that if people are buying stake in something, the goal is not a gift given to you. They are buying the stake to get something out of it. So that means that from the 48 teams, you made 15 billion thereabout. Does that mean that if we go to 64 teams,
Talking about it already.
Yeah, we can hit about 25 billion. So now you don't have, the federations no longer have control over the tournaments. They don't have control over anything soccer anymore. It becomes controlled by people. And one of the things that people are not paying attention to is that there is going to be, from what I'm reading, if it's true, is that there's going to be another entity that is formed outside FIFA that is going to manage it, with Infantino being the CEO of that. So
for me, that's like his whole plan. His whole plan is actually had the power. Like Quincy mentioned to me earlier about, you be around Donald Trump. What does Donald Trump measure about you? So you like to be in charge.
That is the point. The point of having a FIFA president is you have a term and somebody else needs to come in. Yes. That is the beauty of the game. But now you are selling a stake to. So instead of it being a federation run, now it's going to be a privately run. And if I am in charge of it, I can do what I can say. Okay, I need your national teams doesn't have to bring XYZ players because I can't pay them. I can literally control everything that you
can have
guys
timeouts now.
So Solo, right? So he give them a deadline, which is September 19th, to back the plan. If accepted, members in the association will share 7.5 billion pots, right? Which is a lot of money. And I think a lot of people might want to do that. So
I think
so. If rejected, it would be 2 point. It would that would drop to 2 billion pounds, if I'm not mistaken, right? So George said it, but this guy.
So FIFA. So this is what they claim, because I was reading about it. They're still gonna maintain control, right? As a whole, they're still going to maintain control. My biggest issue, or the biggest problem, is Gianni Infantino, since he's been spending a lot of time in America, he has been studying American sports leagues. So basically, and spending time with Trump and other billionaires in America. Basically, he's trying to see how he can mimic the way these other leagues are run in America. He thinks that will work at the FIFA level, but it will never work, like I said. And the reason why it will never work, the NBA, the NFL, the way they run business, their primary market is the United States of America. Americans love their sports. Some model, when it comes to FIFA, now work worldwide. There's not enough money in Africa or in South America, in Asia. People are now willing to pay the kind of money Americans are willing to pay to watch their sports. So about it. Okay, Gianni Infantino wasn't in power, right? He was around, but he wasn't in power. Now, this is my belief, I think. I mean, this is my belief. I don't know if it's true. You know, he got with people and got FBI involved in FIFA, okay? They got investigated. People were arrested. Watching them. Stay Plata got kicked out, got in trouble. Different officials in different countries were arrested, especially in Africa. You know, Africans, we got corrupt leaders, were arrested. And then suddenly this guy comes into power, right? He's the president. He's trying to make this changes. He's trying to make these changes. As long as he's the president of FIFA, whatever proposals he has, I can guarantee you they're going through.
Yeah.
Because money talks. So according to his calculation, they say if the plan is approved, every single member that votes yes or is involved, they can get 20 million right on the bed. Now think about it. All these corrupt countries like in Africa, and I speak about Africa because I'm Africans. I don't know about other continents, but I know the corruption. I know the corruption that goes on in Africa.
They already signed up.
They already signed up. You know what I'm saying? They already signed up. Dude, 20 million expect in African currency. You know how much that money is? So in a short time, Infantino, his plan might work, but he won't be president forever. I don't know if he thinks he's gonna be president forever. So far, the 55 members countries in Europe, they're gonna have an emergency meeting. They're against this whole plan, right? I didn't even know Europe had 55 members, but that's why it says 55 members. They're gonna have an emergency meeting. They oppose this plan, but as long as he's the president, plan gonna go through because money talks. And
But
bullshit-
they need
works,
50%, though. They just need 50%.
That's all they need, right?
This is my
Yeah.
issue. Like we said, we saw when Spain lifted the trophy. First of all, who brought Spain the trophy? It was Infantino, and it was
Donald Trump.
the biggest in the world, Donald Trump, right? And when they lift the trophy, Donald Trump stood there like he didn't want to get out of the way when it was going up, trying to make it about him. As in, he's going to be out of office probably next time the World Cup rolls around, but somehow he needs to be relevant in this. And it's going to be interesting to see what is going to drive this sport now. Is it the sport or is it money?
Money. And money always wins out.
So money is going to win out. And so you're going to see less tradition of what the sport really is. And they're trying to turn it into something similar, like how they tried to make that UEFA Super League, where they tried to make, kind of like on a model like that, but it doesn't. Right now, we can't really grasp what it is. All they know that the money's going to be there. So
the ticket price is going to sky high, and the players' well-being doesn't even matter anymore because you were here to do a job and you had to get paid to play.
And this is like one of the shortest off seasons I've seen players play. Players are running for so long all year, then they come to play this tournament, and they're already back at their.
Sure, MLS started right away.
So
they just took a break.
Yeah.
Well,
so
we had that much players in MLS. It doesn't count.
Yeah. So what is it gonna be now? What is their goal in terms of when they're pumping all this money into it and they're getting these guys involved now, these politicians? What is the motivation behind this sport? And now it's going to make you question how much corruption is going to be behind this. How much we need this player and this player in this tournament. We need this name as long as it can last in the tournament. So we need them to stay in because of views, because of this, because of that. So what is it really going to turn into?
Can I mention one thing? I'm gonna be quick. So we're talking about corruption, right? FIFA in Atlanta, Georgia, the city, they about to sign an agreement, some kind of agreement where they're gonna make FIFA connection permanently in Atlanta, Georgia. So they think Atlanta now is the new soccer capital of the world. So FIFA is working on that plan. Let me through here, okay? So now Infantino, in the past couple of years, so the FIFA headquarters was in Switzerland. He opened up a new office in New York City, another new office in Miami. That tells you where he wants to spend more of his time. Secondly, right, of course, we know he wants to expand the World Cup to 64, 68 countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and think about it. Infantino, he spends all his time in New York, Washington, D.C., or Miami. That's what this dude does. He has been at the White House more than any other president around the world. And he's not even the president of a country. He's always at the White House. Now, and lastly, think about it. You know how FIFA rotates continents hosting the World Cup, right? So if one continent hosts the World Cup this time, they're not eligible to bid the next World Cup. Infantino, he wants the World Cup to be in America as soon as possible. So do you guys know what he did? So the next World Cup in Saudi Arabia, in Spain, Morocco,
and Portugal.
Okay, and South America. Do you know how many countries already are eliminated from bidding the next World Cup? Africa is out of the question. South America out of the question. Europe out of the question. Guess where the World Cup's coming again? 2 World Cups from now. Right back in the United States. Think about it.
Corruption, man.
So now, his goal is he wants to bring the World Cup back to the United States as soon as the World Cup in Saudi Arabia. Because think about it. There will be no single country that will be able to afford to host 68 countries or 64 countries. There's no country that will be able to do it by themselves. They have to always have co-hosts, 3 different countries. And guess what? When you have 3 different countries from 3 different continents, already eliminates that continent from bidding for the World Cup. As a result, a World Cup will continue coming back to America. That's his goal. And understand, he makes more money in America, but it's not good for the fans. But as a business, this is the best location.
More tournament, more sponsors, more media rights.
It's all corruption.
More global reach. Yeah.
Think about it. The World Cup might be back in America in 12 years from now, 8 years from now.
Are you complaining? I'm not.
I'm complaining because the tickets are so expensive.
That is the point. That is the point, though. So now what they are trying to do is, how can somebody buy a stake in something unless there is an ownership, right? Unless somebody owns something and then they are able to sell a percentage of their ownership to you, right? So now FIFA, as it stands now, is considered non-for-profit. You cannot sell ownership in a non-for-profit because nobody owns it. So what will be the ideal way they have to do that? Unless they set up a new organization
which they're doing.
outside FIFA that they can sell the 20% to this private. So if you do that, now you sell 20%. So I come in again, I say, okay, Musa, you have this company, you gave me 20%, but I have extra money. I want to get 30% more. So I'll be 50% owner of that. So who will be owning the other 50%? Or now if you sell the 20%, who owns the other 80%?
And the question you should judge, and the question you should also ask, let's say this goes through, where do you think most of those buyers will come from? Just take a guess.
Exactly.
That is the point. Now we can wake up and say we don't want any African country in the World Cup.
Right.
That would be crazy.
And this is what Kosi was saying. And then who else was in charge? Who else is next to him? Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And then, George, you said it. One day they might wake up next 2-3 World Cup from now. No, we don't want no African countries.
We don't want
these people to be
person from Caribbean coming to the World Cup.
Right.
This is the thing. It made it kind of seem like something like he was making a statement when that was happening. This is the World Cup being hoisted. This is the most prominent trophy. You know, when you see it, it's just like, wow, here it is now. And then he's standing there like, you know, it's showcasing something to the world, I should say. Like, there's something there that we need to ponder now. Like, where is this really leading us in terms of the sport? You know, and it doesn't give me a good feeling when I watch sometimes, especially this World Cup, as in the commercial breaks in the water. The water breaks, and it's like you're taking some of that original sport we love to watch. It's kind of getting a commercialized feeling that, you know, it makes you think about it now. Like, what more are they gonna do? You know, so
but you got to look at it also. It's not just the men's game; it's also the women's game.
Correct.
And they have some affiliation to the Olympics, and so it is more than just looking at it from the standpoint of selling a 20% stake in it, right? There are a lot of things that people need to. That is why they are putting pressure on the UEFA. Can just say we will not even participate in it. All FIFA need is 50%. Where are they going to get a 50%? Africa has how many countries over there?
50. What?
Oceania, how many countries over there? The Caribbean has how many countries over there?
South America.
So just
but George, also imagine if it's countries like England, France, Germany boycotting the World Cup, the viewership still will drop.
That is not the point. But
that will never happen. They're not going to drop out.
The point is that for them to be able to sell that percentage, they just need a 50% vote to even consider it.
Yeah.
So by the time, the deadline that they gave all these federations, if the federations doesn't respond and they say no, then that conversation ceases. But if the federations vote and they get a 50%, now they can open it up and they can go to UEFA and have more conversation, and they can, because now you are telling us that a lot of private firms or private equity firms or individuals control the ownership of this game, which was owned by all the federations. So what can they do now in terms of, they can just wake up in the morning and say, okay, we are going to have a World Cup every year. What happened to the leagues? What happened to the other continental games?
I don't care about those. It depends on who's bringing in more money.
Yeah, it's not just about the World Cup. It's going to trickle down to affect a lot of things.
And then one thing too, like FIFA got, because Europa is always being, they're not gonna go play Champions League finals in the United States of America, right?
Yeah,
because they're gonna keep that in Europe. So that's why FIFA playing this power move. It really gonna look at UEFA like there's something we doing something that's bigger than y'all. and they are competing. But guys, man, I know we could talk about this all night. I know I would love to have this conversation, and
Part
we're
two
gonna
on the
have to
way.
make a part 2. But this has been a great debate, man. The 2026 World Cup gave North American soccer a huge opportunity. We mentioned a lot of those, and then along is not legacy. The next decade will determine whether this was a turning point or just unforgettable summer. And for me, it's been unforgettable summer so far because I would never forget this summer of FIFA World Cup. Yeah, so and also, as you guys just mentioned, the FIFA $20 billion proposal, this idea could unlock a lot of investment across the globe for football. It's going to test whether, expanding is an opportunity for most of our countries to make it in, like Sierra Leone, Zambia, some of us that couldn't make it there, but But it's simple. It's simple knowing that there's a bigger picture than like we are football fans. FIFA is made for guys. We look at it like he was made for us to see. They could do all that money investment, all kind of crap in the club leagues because they get ownership in that. But like FIFA, like we really love. We grew up watching. 1994 World Cup got me more into soccer. So like things like this for us as a fan, we want to see it every 4 years because we can't wait to see it, and we gotta stay prepared for it. I don't think I want to see it every year, and I don't think it's gonna work every year.
No, I don't.
So I don't know about you guys.
It is hard. It's impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, like we said it all, man. We did everything that we break down everything that we know so far. I know there's a lot more to talk about. If we want part 2 coming up soon, we could do that. But so now, man, thanks you guys for watching Bala Sport, man. Please subscribe and press the like button. And for the audience out there, man, tell us what you guys think about the expansion. I mean, the $20 billion, $20 billion question. And of course, there's 2026 World Cup has impacted North American soccer, not just in the United States, Canada and Mexico. Mexico, for me, they already got identity for this World Cup because what they did out there, bro, man, that's something crazy.
And Canada made investment.
Yeah, so they already got their own identity, just like the rest of other nations like Brazil. Mexico really impressed me, man. The way they just did the thing throughout the whole tournament. They got knocked out in their own soil, just like everybody else, like United States, except for Canada, of course. But man, fellas, I appreciate you, man. George, Kosi, Solo, appreciate you guys for being here, man. Thanks for watching Bala Sport TV.
Subscribe.
Appreciate it.